All right, so I've drawn out my reference on my gridded paper. So now it's time for me to paint. I have my palette out. So I have black and white, which everybody is going to have. And then I have a set of complementary colors. So I have red and green. You could also do orange and blue or purple and yellow for this. I also have a cup of water, and then I have two brushes. I have a large flat and a smaller flat. These are good brushes for this project because it's a lot of straight lines going on. And then I also have a palette knife. Okay, so when you are mixing up colors, what you want to do is you want to pull the color that you're going to use. I'm going to start off with red first. Okay, and put it to a different spot. That way this color stays pure, because it doesn't take a whole lot of color or of paint to make your color. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna clean this off a little bit. I'm gonna dip it in my water, wipe it off so everything stays relatively clean. And then I'm gonna take some white. I'm gonna mix in some white with this, because you're going to be doing tints, tones, shades, and intensities of these. All right, so I'm making kind of like a pinkish color. All right, so I go ahead, I mix this up, and then I choose where I want to put it. Okay, I'm gonna be putting my red in my positive space. Okay, so that would be the puzzles pieces. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in here. I'm gonna go slowly. I'm gonna go in here as far as I can. I'm gonna go up on this edge. Just like that. So every square, your positive space is gonna be a color, and then your negative space is going to be the other color. Okay, and if you accidentally go over the line, that's okay, because you can kind of fix it later. But move your paper if need be, which is what I am doing. Okay, no need to contort yourself. All right, so I've done that. Now, an easy thing to do in my view is to kind of do different variations as you go. So I'm just taking this paint that I have with the white, okay? And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of green, kind of change the intensity of the red, okay? I think I'm gonna grab a little bit more, because red is a very strong color, and it kind of takes a lot to tone it down. Okay, so mixing it up with my palette knife, like so, and then I'm gonna paint this in another section. Let's do, I'm gonna rinse off my brush in the water, and then I'm going to dry it off on my paper towel. And I think I'm gonna do this toned down pink over in here. Just make sure you can see it. I'm just going in here. I'm using the edge of my flat to kind of create this nice crisp edge here. I think it's some nice long lines. Okay. And then it's okay if you go on the table. You'll just clean it up after. I'm just going to take my time on the edges, Going like that. You can always move your paper if need be. So I'm just taking my time, going slowly, and filling this in. Okay. All right, let's do one more before I speed up the process and show you the demo. Get some of them already done. So I think I'm gonna add some red to this just to kind of brighten it up, have some contrast with the other two that I've done. And don't be afraid to use the paint. You can always get more paint. Okay, there's loads of paint. So don't be stingy with it. So I'm mixing this up. All right. I'm gonna clean off my brush. Dry it off on a towel. All right, and then I think I'm gonna paint in here. So this and this one are gonna be the same red, okay? Load up my brush, okay? Then I'm gonna go in here, carefully take my time, going down the edge here so it's nice and clean. I kind of just pull away from the edge. As I do that, I'm going to turn my paper, because that's just makes life easier. Okay. So take your time. Go up in here, like so. So I'm going to bring this around. Okay, and then I'm going to go in this guy here, because that's going to be the same color, red. Okay, so you don't need to rush, because when you rush, that's when things get sloppy. Just take your time. Make sure you can see what you're doing. So don't worry about making like a new shade every go. Just take your time. And just use whatever you mixed up, and then you can add more to it. All right, I'll be back with this part done. All right, so you can see here I've filled it in some more, and you'll see that I'm slowly yet surely doing different tints, tones, intensities of red. I've got regular red, I've got red with a little bit of green, a little bit of white, red with some white, red and black. So varieties, I'm making sure that the colors next to each other are not the same, so we can kind of maintain that grid look. I'm taking my time applying the paint, trying to do it neatly Some places it's not as neat, but I'll clean that up when I do the background. But you can see here with my palette, I still have like a good amount of white, good amount of black, tons of green. I might need to add some more red to the palette in order to finish up the rest of this. But one thing I did to save myself time was that you'll see here, like this red, and that red, they're all the same. So I just mixed it up, and then I went to different sections, made sure they weren't right next to each other to do that, okay? So that's the way you can save yourself time, so you're not constantly mixing up colors. And you'll see it doesn't take a whole lot of paint in order to make this happen. So I'll finish up with the red with the puzzle pieces, and then we'll go in and I'll do green for the negative space and do the same thing, you know, green with white, green with gray, green with black, green with a little bit of red, to make all of these variations in our limited palette.